Hello, so I was going to do a gas mask video today, but annoyingly, and sort of not annoyingly depending on the price of them, the mask I was sent was actually the wrong mask. So I have here a mask I've already done a video on before, but I'll do another one on it. The French C38, which I believe was just the French civilian model 38 gas mask, and next to it I have a French M51. Well, that might be a Belgian export model, I can't remember of it. Because of the fact that they're very, very similar masks, this is kind of like the successor to this mask. But it's the mask I was meant to be getting, I think, was probably an Italian TC35 or C35. And they do look very similar if you're sort of untrained. So it's one of those ones where I don't really blame the seller for it, because quite often if you have people that, you know, don't know all that much about gas masks, you know, just happen to find one somewhere, they'll probably do a preliminary search, get a couple of pictures up, and then thought, oh, it said C38 on it, therefore it's, you know, the Italian TC38 or, you know, TC35, whichever. So that's what I was hoping to do a video on, but I've not got that. I've instead got a French C38. So, annoyingly, as I said in the older video on these are 42mm filters, so it means that, you know, you can't put modern filters on them. Obviously they were upgraded to 40mm with the newer ones, but otherwise they're very similar. So the head harness is a bit different on it. It's still 5.1 with the French system of having the little buckles at the bottom, but the way it's done is a bit different. But there you go, there's those little buckles. The Tissot tube system, I think, is exactly the same in them. Yes, it is. So both masks have the Tissot tubes sort of coming up through the eyes, which you won't be able to see very well, but hopefully on this one I can show you alright a bit closer up. So the Tissot tubes are literally underneath the eyes, and your exhale valve is there by the mouth. So what you've got there is obviously an exhale valve with a little cover on it. If this one unscrews easily, I'll take it off. Obviously I don't want to risk damaging the mask. But no, I think that's probably just swivelling on itself there, rather than actually... I'll just see if I can grip the back a bit. No, I don't want to risk taking that off. Because unlike this one, it seems like the actual ring it's sort of spinning on is coming out, but I believe it's a very similar exhale valve sort of system where you've just got a bit of sort of rubber under there that expands to let out air. So yeah, like I said, annoyingly, I thought I'd be doing a video today on the Italian sort of T35 or a similar Italian World War II mask to that, because there was quite a lot of variants of the T35 or C35, whatever you want to call it. With these masks, because the M51 was later used in French military service, I don't know if this was also a mask that ended up, even if it was designed for civilians, being used in lots of places it wasn't intended to be, because obviously it had worked fine. But like I said, it's actually a pretty good mask design for World War II. Like I said, it's annoying about the proprietary filter, but the actual design of, you know, having a filter that you could take on, take off easily, you know, it's a simple face piece. It's going to fog up quickly, but you have got Tissot tubes at least going to the eyes. What's different about this one is when I got the previous one, it was in a sort of can-style carrier, I believe, wherever I've got that stored, whereas this one obviously has come in a bag. But, yeah. So, annoyingly, this wasn't the video I wanted to make, and as I said, I've already done a longer video on the C38 that I did before. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that, you know, obviously, if people just visually look at a mask and don't check all the markings on them, I can obviously see why a company, or, you know, a seller or whatever would look at, you know, something like this, an Italian M35, or even the M51s, but thankfully they didn't send an M51 by accident. As much as it's a better quality mask, it's obviously more modern, you know, and send you the wrong thing. So there you go. Obviously, like I said, I think it's a bit like now people mistake the MP5 and the ARFA, because they're so similar looking masks. If you don't, you know, notice the little details like the text on them or the voice diaphragm style cover or whatever. That's probably the most egregious example of ones constantly being sold under the wrong thing. But yeah, I thought this was at least sort of an interesting thing to do a video on. So buyer beware, potentially if you're ordering these or another similar looking mask online. Might be worth asking the seller to send you a couple more pictures before you get it. Because this wasn't stupidly expensive, I don't really mind if I get, you know, a mask now and again that isn't the right one. Because especially if you're like dealing with sellers that don't have, you know, obviously loads of knowledge, I don't want to be a dick to them, you know, because obviously they're just selling what they think's the right thing. Like I said, I'm happy enough with it anyway. But yeah, so when I was meant to be doing a video on the Italian sort of M35, T35, C35, whatever you call it, ones similar masks to that. Got this instead. Already have done a video on one of these, but I don't know if I showed it before, right next to the M51, which was like its successor, because they are pretty much the same mask, just that's made to a bit of a higher standard. But yeah, there you go. That's the unexpected video of today.